The world of Beastars. It may be just like our own world in some senses, but there's an air of tragedy that plagues it, unlike our own. That plague is the extreme and fierce carnivorous desires that lay dormant inside half the world's population. Both carnivores and herbivores have to suffer because of it, and the looming threat of it is what keeps the two from coexisting without any fear. Last year, I talked about the tragic side story of Airdo and Ako and said that I really wanted to see a follow-up story in the epilogue of Beastars that show us how their story ended. Unfortunately though, Beastars ended, and there was no word from them. Until Beast Complex Chapter 18 happened! Oh yeah, right now seems like the right time for my spoiler warning. Spoilers for the entirety of the Beastars manga, which, anime watchers, if you're wondering, there's a lot more after Season 2, so there will be spoilers for that. Also spoilers for Beast Complex Chapter 18 and on. Now with that out of the way, Beastars' most tragic side story revisited! Many readers of Beastars don't even know what Beast Complex is, and it's unfortunately heavily underrated. To sum up, Beast Complex is a separate manga series by Paru Itagaki that takes place in the same universe as Beastars. Excluding the Legoshi x Haru Beast Complex pilot, there are 4 chapters of Beast Complex that were written before Beastars started serialization. While being in the same universe, there were only slight nods and references to the characters of Beastars, and for the most part, it was its own separate thing. For the most part, not completely, because Chapter 2 is a prequel about Gon, the headmaster of Cherryton, as a child, going to school with Kibi, Tem, and Zoe? Yeah, you could definitely tell that this was written before Beastars. Anyway, after Beastars really started to get going, Beast Complex kinda fell by the wayside and would only update occasionally. Chapter 7 marked a change in the series though. That came out during the final arc of Beastars, and it was actually about a character who had appeared briefly within Beastars. That set the basis for the future of Beast Complex. After Beastars had ended, Paru announced that she was going to go back to working on Beast Complex. This new Beast Complex was going to follow a hybrid of both the old format of original characters and the new format of expanding on minor Beastars characters. We got more chapters on the hidden Kondo members. Mookie will get his own video soon, I promise. And even some about Legoshi. It was the epilogue that Beastars needed, and even though it could have shined a little more light on a lot of the characters, the ones we did get were pretty nice. And that leads me to Beast Complex Chapter 18, when we finally got a follow-up to the Ako and Airdo side story. Which leads us to the topic of this video. We are going to be revisiting the tragic side story of Ako and Airdo. But before I get into talking about the new chapter, I want to address and reapproach the last video. Looking back on it, I realized that I was way too harsh on Ako and was victim blaming her, and I want to apologize for that. I was only looking at it from Airdo's perspective, and that was just stupid of me. I now tried to look through both Airdo and Ako's perspectives this time around, and now I feel like I have a better picture of everything and can present it better. My original point that I was trying to get across in that video is the tragic nature of a carnivore's existence with how they have to live with a demon inside them that they constantly struggle to keep in check at all hours of the day. How that demon is something that can get in the way and destroy the relationship that we want Legoshi and Haru to be able to have so badly. The original point of that scene within the story was to show Haru the potential risks that she could have to face if she wanted to continue pursuing a relationship with Legoshi. How it is tragic that these risks had to exist in the first place because carnivores never chose to be born with this demon, but are forced to spend their entire lives fighting against it. But what I fail to expand on more is how herbivores have to suffer from this too. They have to live in constant fear that a carnivore could give in to their instincts at any given second and devour them. And they could be in a position where they're unable to defend themselves against them. Now imagine how an herbivore must feel when they're dating a carnivore. They will be up close and personal with someone who could lose the battle against the demon living inside them at any second and attack them when they're most vulnerable. That fact is horrifying. And it's tragic that the Beastars world is like this. That's why after discussing this side story with a lot of people, here is the conclusion that we came to. This is what I was trying to imply in the original video, but I didn't go about it in the right way because I failed to see more of Ako's perspective and instead victim blamed her, which worsened my view and explanation of what this scene really meant and represented, and I'm very sorry about that. So the conclusion that we have come to was both Ako and Airdo are the victims in this situation. But the victims of what exactly? Well, the victims of the curse of carnivorous desire that all carnivores are plagued with in the world of Beastars. This scene is supposed to represent and be a painful reminder of the tragic fact of the laws of nature of the Beastars world and the potential consequences that the citizens of it had to face if they want to intermingle. All Ako wanted was to try and break down the species barrier and do something that all the people in her life were too afraid to do. All Airdo wanted was to have a deep relationship with the woman he loved, but both ended up becoming victims of the awful curse of carnivorous desire. It's really sad to see that. I really hope that everything turns out okay.
Airdo, is that you? It is you. I'm surprised you came to see me again.
Ako!
I've been meaning to call you, but I thought it would have been hard for you to talk to me again. But whatever, here we are now. I really want to make it up to you.
Okay, this is definitely weird. Oh, I knew it. She was always quick to pick up on the situation and adjust to it. Ako.
A year has passed now and Ako is okay. On top of that, she seems to actually be really happy. I was actually a little confused why she was so happy, but then it hit me. Ako has a character trait that Airdo points out, and it's something extremely admirable. It actually fits really well into the two-part video series about acceptance and the ability to move on that's coming very soon on this channel. This trait about Ako could be best summed up with my absolute favorite quote from One Piece.
At this rate, you will lose sight of everything. You will be engulfed by dark clouds of self-condemnation and regret. It may be hard right now, Luffy, but you must silence those thoughts. Stop counting only those things that you have lost. What is gone is gone. So ask yourself this. What is there that still remains to you?
The past can be painful, very painful, but it could never be undone. No matter how hard you try, the fact still stands that what happened, happened, and the scars of it will always be there. But even with that, you can't let the past prohibit you from moving forwards towards the future, and that's exactly how Ako lives her life. She could sit there and mope about how her gigantic scars are a blemish on her face and how she'll never have as clear a complexion as she once did. But Ako really doesn't see the point of doing that. Life is way too short to dwell in sadness about the past, about something you can't change. Ako instead decides to see the glass as half full and makes the most of what she has in the present. Instead of seeing her scars as a detriment, she decides to press on with her life by embracing them as part of who she is now. Beast Complex chapters are all one-shots. They don't have a continuous story, so because of that format, Paru tries to use each of the 22 or so pages to present a different life lesson every time. Chapter 5 is about seeing past species and respecting people for who they are as a person. Chapter 7 is about understanding other perspectives that are far outside your own. Well, Chapter 18 is about how the past shouldn't hold you back, and instead, you should embrace what you still have and move towards the future with it. Ako may have these scars, but she doesn't want to live a negative life. She is going to make the most of what she still has and not let the past be a detriment to her. That's why she doesn't hold any resentment towards Airdo, and she has decided to move forwards. When she reunites with Airdo, she notices that he's still stuck in the past and is scared to move forwards. That pisses her off, and she decides to teach him how to move forwards just like she did.
These scars. Are they painful to look at?
Ako, wait! Ako!
I don't want your pity. My scars will never go away. You should stop being so arrogant. You didn't give me these scars.
Ako! Your words were being drowned out by the sound of the fireworks. But even then, only I could hear them.
I made these scars.
Only I could hear her cries. I think that, right now, and even since then, I've always loved you, Ako! Let's date properly. Not as a trendy couple, but one that's true to heart.
Okay, fine. In that case, you'd have to be a good plastic surgeon. Until then, you will remain devoted to me. And once you start your medical practice, make sure you confess to me again. I'll need a good chapter like that in my autobiography.
Okay. I'll be looking forward to then.
Airdo wanted a genuine relationship with Ako, and he still does, but because of what happened between the two of them in the past, he can't move forwards and try to pursue that. But when Airdo tells Ako how he truly feels, even though she does it in a very indirect way, she really does teach him how to move forwards. If Airdo really does want to pursue a real and true loving relationship with Ako, sitting there and moping about what happened between the two of them in the past isn't going to fix anything. Actions speak louder than words. Sure, in a silent voice, Shoya can apologize to Shoko for all the things he did to her in the past, but what truly fixed their relationship was Shoya actually taking action and trying to take the steps to communicate with her and spend more time with her. Please watch A Silent Voice. It is an excellent movie, and the plot is a more in-depth and heart-tugging version of this chapter. Anyway, the court decided that Airdo was still suitable to go to a co-species college and that he's still allowed to be around herbivores. Like how Ako embraces her scars, Airdo should embrace the fact that the courts are legally allowing him to see Ako again. What annoys Ako is that Airdo has the chance to move forwards and pursue what he wants, but instead he just stands still, letting the past stop him from moving forwards. If he really wants to have a real relationship with Ako, then he should go for it. Ako definitely stated that to him in a pretty, interesting way, but the way she said it has so much symbolic meaning within it, and it's actually kind of genius if I'm gonna be honest. Does she actually want him to be a plastic surgeon? Who knows? Probably, I don't know. I know she probably did say that in a literal sense, but I took what she said in a deeper symbolic sense. The scars on Ako's head represent the mistakes of the past. They will never go away. But even with that fact, scars can be remedied. According to plasticsurgeons.org, plastic surgeons can perform what is called scar revision. The goal of it is to minimize a scar, to remedy it, to make it look less visible. Scars can't always be removed entirely, but plastic surgeons can at least minimize them. While Airdo can't make the scars of the past on Ako's head disappear entirely, if he puts in the work, he could remedy them and make the past between the two of them better. What she said to Airdo could be applied both literally and metaphorically. Pursuing a medical practice takes a lot of work, but once that has been done, he could use what he has learned from all of his hard work on Ako's scars to physically remedy them. He doesn't even have to actually become a plastic surgeon to fulfill what Ako wants of him though. He has to put in a lot of work if he wants to make the past better and truly pursue a relationship with Ako. But once he does put in that work, he could remedy the scars of the past with his actions in the present and make those scars less painful to look at. That is what's so beautiful about this chapter and the ending of the story of Airdo and Ako in general. People say that when there's a rift in a relationship, then the relationship between those two people will never be what it once was. While that is true in some cases with a friendship or a relationship, that still doesn't mean that the couple can't still pursue a strong relationship with each other. If both sides are willing to acknowledge the past, but are also able to grow and forgive each other for everything that has happened, then why shouldn't they try to pursue a relationship between each other again if they really want to? Ako has gotten Airdo to finally be able to move past what happened. She has forgiven him and wants him to pursue what he wants in life and tells him to put in the work to do so. And judging by how this chapter ended, it definitely seems like he will. Beast Complex is seriously underrated, and I highly recommend checking it out. It has one-shot stories that have deep and touching messages just like this one. And actually, I have another video on Beast Complex coming out next Friday about the character Mugi. But wait, next Friday? That's a whole nother week away. I want to see the video now. Well, what if I told you that you could see it now? For just $1 a month, if you join my Patreon, this video is already up an entire week early on my Patreon. Some of the perks you'll get of joining my Patreon is early access to scripts in their first draft, recordings of the actual audio of the video before the video comes out, dub scenes early, and some extra exclusive content coming soon. Link is in the description. Anyway, see you guys at the Mugi video. I just wanted to say thank you to all the voice actors who voiced in this video. You guys did such a great job, and it was amazing to work with you guys. Also, thank you to Joseph VS for being an amazing co-director as always. Thank you to all my patrons. Your guys' continued support really helps this channel out. Thank you guys so much. Alright, plug time. Follow my Twitter and check out my Patreon for early content. So, what's next? Sorry I was gone for so long. Ibuki month kinda died and I underestimated just how busy I was going to be in June. Well, I'm back now and I have a ton of content on the way, so get ready. All the things planned for Ibuki month are coming out this month, and I am planning to get out around 4 to 5 videos this month, so be prepared. Get ready for the Beast Complex Mugi video next. I'll see you guys then.